there is a wise democracy pattern explicitly by about story, and I'll post that in the chat here if you want to explore this more. I'll post a few other things soon. What I was going to say, since that everything has a story and is a story, my realization about this came in a bus in Berkeley. I was already studying story, and there were poems that were put up on the buses along with the advertisements. And I look up from the seat I'm sitting in, and I see the world is made of stories, not atoms. Muriel Rukeyser. My only disagreement with that is that it's made of atoms too, but the atoms have stories. It's like the one of my introductions to the great story of evolution, which Karen and I were part of. Karen Cuddebue's here, when with Michael Dowd and Connie Barlow. I had watched Connie do a talk with these teachers about how to teach the story of evolution to kids, and she holds up a glass of water that she's drinking, and she says, "The hydrogen in this water was made very shortly after the Big Bang. It's that old. There's been no new hydrogen created in the universe since then." So that's really old, 13.7 or 8 billion years old, that hydrogen. And the oxygen in this was made in the belly of red giant stars that lived and died before our sun was born. You know, these stars created the oxygen out of hydrogen and helium and then blew up, and that dust, we are stardust. All those pieces of what we call atoms and molecules were blown out of these stars and reconfigured by gravity, and we are that, and that's a story, and all those atoms in it are a story. And each of the atoms in this is supposedly every 7 years, all the atoms in it switch, are switched with other atoms. So we're like a candle flame flowing through, and that that sense of being a story, and everything that we are and everything around us is a story. I call story reality. And lived stories are those stories. And and that part of my book, the Evolutionary Reflections on Evolutionary Activism, was based in the sense that coming out of Michael and Connie's work, Great Story of Evolution, is we are evolution. That's a story. Evolution is itself a story from the Big Bang. This is what the Big Bang looks like now. Big Bang wasn't something that happened long ago. It never stopped. This is what it looks like now. And just walking around with that consciousness, a whole different world. And so that's a lived story. You can live into it. And the sense that the universe has this creative power. You can put it outside the universe you want, and I playfully call it the great CPU, the creative power of the universe, in my book. And that we are that, to use that language of Hinduism, we are that. We're not separate from that. We are creating the next stages of evolution with everything we do all the time, and sort of becoming aware of that and doing that intentionally is what the evolutionary activism is all about. Yeah, and the sense and when lots of people share stories and are co-creating them and being impacted by them, I call that a story field. It's like similar to a cultural narrative, but like the sense that the feminist story has grown to challenge the patriarchal story field, and how the Trumpist story field has taken over the lives of millions. And I talk about the American way of life is a story field. And if you look at the initials, it's really great. AWOL, AWOL. The idea of a career is a story field. It's just everybody's growing up thinking they need a career, and the career involves this, and you're going to play this heroic role in your career. You're going to move through it and do this, that, and the other. And that's a story field that we all share as a career as part of your life. Uh, the green story field has many embedded stories with sustainability, regenerativity, water is life, renewables, Mother Earth, all that adding up together into this field. It's like a magnetic field where the magnet is shaping the behaviors of all the particles in it, and the particles in it are shaping the magnetic field. It's a two-way kind of thing. And that idea of story fields, why we did a story field conference for 5 days of open space back in 2007, was, is it possible to consciously intervene in a story field and shape it, which is a very theoretically high leverage of shift in the society if you can pull it off. And I'm living in a great story of the meta crisis right now, the emergence of all these crises that are adding up together. The inequity, climate, nuclear war, AI, all these technological challenges, and the recognition that they all come from the same source. And to be living in that and going, how do I want to live, participate in that? So that's how I come to the world of theory of story. I will put into the blog post the 6 dimensions of the story field paradigm, the story paradigm that I've developed, and the co-intelligence site that has it. And also, I looked at the pattern language and found 5 categories of patterns that are speaking about story. And I'll put all of that into the blog post now so you can follow up on it. But